Mazzulla Ball that some of us have grown to love and some of us have grown to hate. I don't know if it's working anymore. It seems like it's becoming an Achilles heel for the Boston Celtics. While it worked last year, it's pretty much the essential. You want to try and get the most efficient shot up. For the Celtics, that tends to be the three-point shot because they have so many sharp shooters from position 1 to position 5, including Porzingis, and then you got Derrick White, Jrue Holiday, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown. We haven't even gotten to the bench yet. But at this point, are they just taking threes for the hell of it, or is it actually the most efficient shot? Before I break down what the Boston Celtics are looking like from downtown, because it's not too great this month, starting off 2025, I want to go ahead and ask you guys to help us beat the New York Knicks. Look, they are on our tail in the Eastern Conference right now. They're only 4 games behind Boston, who continuously is losing games against horrible ball teams like the Kings, like the Pelicans, and I don't want the Knicks to catch up with us. But I do want to catch up with them in our subscriber battle. They have 993 subs throughout the first half of January. We have 823. I need you guys to help us take down Marshall Green and the Knicks Now channel here at Chat Sports. All you guys have to do is subscribe. So let's talk about the start of 2025. Through 6 games so far. Not that much, but in the terms of NBA, these next couple of months, they really do matter for the seeding heading in the playoffs, and it does matter how Boston is looking heading in to try and go back-to-back here. Through 6 games so far, Boston has the 5th worst three-point percentage in the NBA with nearly 33%. That is horrendous, especially because Boston is continuously taking threes like their jobs depend on it. And that's why I say some people love Mazzulla Ball and some people hate it. When you look at what Boston Celtics typically tend to do, yes, the most efficient shot happens to be from downtown. But last month, they were first in the NBA in three-point attempted, and that is with 50 threes a game. Now they're taking a back seat, and they're still the first team in the NBA when it comes to taking the most three-pointers a game, now averaging 44. It's way too many threes for Boston just to be coming in here and relying on the three ball when they're not falling. So if you tell me in the month of January you're still taking 44 threes, but you're only making 32% of them, something needs to change. Whether you need to change up your most efficient shot or whether you need to have better sharp shooters on the court at the same time, I don't know if Boston taking this amount of threes is working because they're not making the shot. But other players tend to disagree with me. Al Horford, the 38-year-old veteran on the Celtics, a huge locker room presence, he actually thinks the quite opposite. He thinks, I'm like, man, we've got to get those up. We've had those numbers up, way up, earlier in the season, and now it seems like we're taking less. Obviously talking about three-point shots here. I like when we shoot a lot of threes. So that's a really good question on why the Celtics aren't making those threes. Let's go back to the first game of the season, October 20th, going up against the New York Knicks. They tied the franchise record for most threes made. And then they tied a franchise record for most threes taken in an NBA game. So now we're starting to digress here, not taking as many threes, but we're also not making as many threes. And the one thing that I've noticed here with the Boston Celtics is that they will go down these deficits and they'll try to cut back and get that lead back and keep trying to go and chasing for 4 quarters. But what they're not doing is rebounding more efficiently, taking shots in the paint more efficiently, assisting better. They're just hoping their three ball starts to fall. And that's the type of Mazzulla Ball I really don't like. But Al Horford continues to say that he trusts in the three ball and the Mazzulla method because he says we have a lot of sharpshooters. So I feel like when we shoot more, we have better chances. That's just rolling the dice and hoping you land on double sevens. That's not actually putting your best foot forward and saying this is the best shot we have available. Also, it spreads the floor out. Opens the floor up a lot for Jaylen and Jayson. I'm sure that we'll get back to these eventually. I can't really tell you honestly right now what it is. Well, did you know that Jaylen Brown is the lowest three-point attempts he's had in his NBA season so far in the month of January? You know what Jaylen Brown's doing? He's finding the most efficient shot. He's driving to the basket. He's going up the post. He's finding that mid-range jumper. So don't tell me you want to space the floor more for Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum when Brown is even taking a step back in his three-point production because he knows that he can have a better opportunity of scoring down low than along the perimeter. And I do think some other Boston Celtics players might want to adhere to that. Tatum, not taking majority of his shots until the second half of the game. Derrick White, he is just absolutely shooting out of his shoes right now and not creating plays. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Derrick White here in the back half of the show, but I have a question for you guys following up with what Al Horford said. And I know some of you do like Mazzulla Ball, some of you don't, so we're going to have a lot of mixed comments down below, but that's the reason why we have Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I talk, you talk, and then we talk about it. Type M for more, type L for less in the comment section down below. Next, we're going to talk about Derrick White, who seems to be finding himself in a slump to start off 2025, which is not boding well for Boston, and it's definitely not boding well for his personal accolades. But before I jump into that, you guys just commented more or less in the comment section down below, so why don't you take that and try to win some money? Let's talk about Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. It's seriously that easy. All you have to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Oh yeah, 1,000 times your cash. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, even Call of Duty for you e-gamers out there. I play Prize Picks every single game day, and I want you guys to join me and 10 million active users. Not to mention the promotions always keep me coming back every Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. You're going to get 20% off a player's projected stats, and every Friday is Flex Friday. Win or your money back guaranteed up to $20. But I'm focusing on this weekend. I am ready to sit down, have some buff chick dip, and watch Derrick Henry go to work. More than 97 rushing yards is what I'm taking for King Henry. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm going to have him having at least one tutty, even though David Montgomery is expected to come back. I think Gibbs is still their ace. And then I want C.J. Stroud to have at least one passing touchdown against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys want to copy these? Feel free. No problem at all. If you want to make your own, download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code CLNS. This will give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code CLNS. This will give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. I have come to be a huge fan of Derrick White on both sides of the basketball, but how his offensive production is playing right now is affecting how he plays on defense, and that's a hard struggle to watch game in and game out. There's nothing I hate more in the history of sports than watching a player go through a slump, and that's exactly what's happening right now for D. White. In his last 4 games, which really do matter for the Boston Celtics because in the last 10 games, they've only won 5 of them. So the last 4 games for White, he's averaging 6.5 points. Almost 2 turnovers. He's shooting 22% from the field and a whopping 10% from the three-point line. I truly think this has to be a career low. A 10% over the stretch of 4 games. And when you are looking at Mazzulla Ball, and that does tend to lead from shooting 3-pointers, Derrick White is failing. He's getting 2, 0, 0, 1. And these are all losses. The Thunder, obviously being the #1 seed in the Western Conference, I'll take that loss. I'll accept that loss. But the Kings, Pelicans, and Raptors, these are games where Derrick White needs to be helping the Celtics push through the most. Why? Because it's a January regular season game going up against 8-32 Pelicans, 9-31 Kings. I'm sure they don't care as much as they would going up against the Thunder. But these are the games, especially when Derrick White needs to find his shooting rhythm. I don't care if you take 23s in a game against the Kings and you still end up losing, but if Derrick White finds his rhythm again, then I'm all for it. Because the Boston Celtics need Derrick White. He has proven to be clutch in the playoffs. He has proven to help when Jayson Tatum can't find his shot. He is always making a difference on defense, but as of right now, he's losing his spot. And by losing his spot, I mean Peyton Pritchard is proving to be a very good point guard for the Boston Celtics. And Joe Mazzulla couldn't take this slump from Derrick White anymore. When they're losing to the Toronto Raptors, a team they should be blowing out by the 4th quarter, Derrick White was benched. He played season low, 21 minutes. You know who stepped in? Peyton Pritchard. There is always a next guy up. And if Pritchard needs to put a little fire underneath Derrick White's ass, then I'm all for it. But I don't want to see Derrick White on the bench. I want to see Derrick White playing the efficient two-way basketball that we've known to love. And his fellow teammate, Jayson Tatum, who also hasn't been having the great performance on offense either, he spoke in after the Raptors game and he said, look, we see this. We're very aware that Derrick White is not who he has been. And I understand how frustrating it can be when shots aren't falling. You're not playing up to the standard you expected of yourself because of how much you love the game and how much you work and you put into it. You just got to trust that in due time, it's going to turn around. Derrick White is a player that you want to continuously get his flowers, like a Tatum, like a Brown. And it really sucks that right now he's hitting season lows with 3 weeks left until the All-Star. Keep in mind, Derrick White has never been an All-Star, and that was a goal for him this year. And now he's going 2 for 11 from downtown. 0 rebounds against the Raptors. 0 assists against the Raptors. It's starting to affect other areas of his game and as well on defense. He's not reading his man the same way that he is. The one thing I noticed about the Toronto Raptors is that they completely spaced the floor because the Celtics defense was so discombobulated, they didn't know whose man to cover. And Derrick White was one of them. When I start to see the offensive slump is affecting the defensive slump, maybe it's time to take a back seat until he can get his footing and become the shooter and the defender that we know. So I want you guys to go on ahead and do not spread hate in the comment section. Give White some love. If there is an athlete going through a slump, you just got to support him and know that he's going to get out of it. So go on ahead, give 9s in the comments. Spam them in the comments down below if you want Derrick White to bounce back and help us get out of this team-wide slump of losing. My final take here is that Boston is having to make up for Derrick White's lack of offensive production. But I don't want to point the finger and say Derrick White is the reason why we're losing these ball games. It's not. Jayson Tatum hasn't been shooting and scoring the same way. Jaylen Brown trying to find other ways to score because his shot's not falling. Kristaps Porzingis has been inefficient on both ends of the basketball. The Boston Celtics are going through the January blues right now, and it may take some time to get out of it. But I do think they're going to come out on top, and I do think Mazzulla Ball will reign once more. And if you guys want the latest news and rumors on the Boston Celtics, go on ahead, hit that sub button for me. We're in a month-long subscriber battle with the Knicks Now channel, and I am very scared the Knicks are going to take over our spot in number 2 in the Eastern Conference, so I will not let them take over number 1 in subscribers here at Chat Sports.